Yes.
Hi, Misha.
Hi.
My name's Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
First, I want to say I was in Vancouver and someone stole
Wait, I can't quite hear you.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
How about there?
That's better.
Better? Okay. So first I was going to say I was in Vancouver and some other Natalie took my spot when I came to ask a question, so I'm super happy I got to come up. So that's one.
That's infuriating.
I was so sad.
It sounds like you have a lawsuit on your hands.
Oh. No, I'm not like that. So my question is...
I just broke her kneecaps. Sorry, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it is a thought.
But you are. So my question is, so I started gishing a couple years ago, and it's super fun, and so I wanted to find out, you've been doing it a lot longer than a couple years, so what is your most memorable event tied to gish?
For those of you who don't know, Gish is the greatest international scavenger hunt, and it's a weird little game that I started more than a decade ago and seems to keep going. People participate in over 100 countries. My favorite things were, I don't know. There was many things that I really loved. The very first image that came, the first scavenger hunt that I did, I remember Vicky was, my wife was pregnant with West, and she was very pregnant, and I did this little scavenger hunt from our little apartment in Vancouver, and I remember being at my computer, and the first submissions came in, and at that time there was only 300 participants, and they were emailing me their submissions. The first one I opened the item was like, cover yourself completely in cotton candy, with only your face exposed, but your face has to be covered in lipstick. You know. And there was this poor kid who made the submission, and it was him just standing in his poorly lit bedroom in front of the closet with like melting, he was maybe 14 years old, and in the Philippines, and it was all melting to his body, and there was this like humiliating face of lipstick all over his face. And I saw it, and I was like, this is what I was meant to do. It just made me so happy. I distinctly remember walking out of the room and saying, to Vicky, I was like, I really think I've hit on something here. And other things like that. Having Emily Dickinson, the texts of Emily Dickinson poems projected onto the hulls of naval warships was a really arresting. It's funny that I use that term, it was not intentional. A couple people were arrested doing that. But it was just like such a kind of powerful image. I really loved that. I loved it when NASA told us to stop bothering on their official Twitter feed. It said, we appreciate your gishers doing your scavenger hunt, but our astronauts have real work to do. Please leave them alone. That was pretty satisfying. The next year I wrote an item that said, last year NASA told us to leave their astronauts alone. I know that they've been kicking themselves all year for that rash decision. Get Gish written in space. And lo and behold, a week later, NASA tweets, they gave up. And they tweet like they officially named a mountain on Mars Gishwez, and posted it on their social media. It was pretty awesome. And then, so in a moment of seriousness, the thing that is most meaningful is that every Gish, we like band together everyone's resources and figure out some one thing that we can all collectively do that will make a profound impact in either a person's life or a community's situation. And we've done some amazing things doing that, you know, really just kind of amazing. We bought like 60 square miles of forest land in Nepal and set it aside permanently. We, have found housing and medical attention and schooling for Syrian refugees that were living in Lebanon, and we run a dance school, and we have farmers in Africa who have like permanent farmland because of this weird little game that we do. So that feels really satisfying. Hi.
Hello. I really enjoyed Bridgewater, but your character was so frustrating. And I was just wondering, was he frustrating to you? Like, did you feel that way playing him? And I was also wondering if there's anything you can tell us about season 2.
Season 2 is coming, I can tell you that. And I did find my character frustrating. I was like, come on, an owl? It seemed like a little bit of a refrain of some of the things that we did early in Supernatural, where like one brother was always like, oh, that's probably nothing, and the other brother was like, no, it looks like it's something supernatural. And there was always this like fight, and in Bridgewater, my character is always like, there's got to be a rational explanation for all of these completely irrational things, and he stuck with that for a little too long. It was kind of annoying. But as the podcast winds up, I think the tables turn. Not to spoil it for anyone who hasn't heard it yet, but I did spoil it. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Misha. So speaking of Gishwas, you and Rob did an item together, and it was to do something that you've always wanted to do but have never done. So I went skydiving. So is that something you would ever consider doing? Is that something you've ever wanted to do?
I have considered and have wanted to, and have not yet done it because I'm too afraid. How was it?
It was scary. Like, he didn't...
No shit.
I expected him to actually jump, but he kind of just like fell out, and it was just like, they put your head up so you can't like pass out.
Really?
Yeah, so they like put your head on their shoulder so you can't look down, and then
Wait, so what do you mean?
So I did tandem, I didn't go by myself.
I think that's how it always happens when you go for the first time.
I hope so, because I wouldn't want to do it by myself.
Okay. So you lean...
So like he has you attached to them, and then you put your hands like this, and you lean your head up on his shoulder.
Okay.
And then he kind of just goes 1, 2, and then just falls out.
Huh. That sounds kind of snuggly.
Yeah, but I
mean, if you're looking for a cuddle,
yeah,
that's a good way to get it. You have to jump out of a plane, fall out of a plane to do it, but...
Yeah, he was like, when we were going up there, he was like, don't worry, people that pass out are just people that are drunk or haven't eaten anything. I was like, well, I haven't eaten anything, and I'm hungover, so thank you.
Okay, so, but it worked out and you did not pass out?
I did not, no.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you can be hungover and very
jump out of
hungry
an
and
airplane,
jump out of an airplane.
fine.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's for all the kids out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. My question is, where do you think Castiel's new favorite place is in heaven?
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I think the angels see a version of heaven that's very different from ours, right? But I imagine that Castiel's version of heaven is probably somewhere in the bunker or somewhere, maybe in the Impala, back with the boys. Yeah, it's kind of sad to think about Cass off there in heaven doing the work he's doing, but kind of alone. That's how I see him. with Jack, but Jack is also now like this weird God thing or whatever, so he's the absent father again. I think that Cass is, I'm not supposed to talk about this. This is not canon. This is just my take on things. But I imagine him being kind of sad and kind of lonely on the one hand, but also like imbued with this lasting happiness for having expressed himself that buoys him along. It's like this quiet, simmering contentment that he carries with him. That's how I imagine Castiel. But there's a melancholy to it as well, I think. I know that's quite abstract and not what you were looking for at all, but there you go.